going to get started. People are going to be coming in, but we'd like to start right on time so that we can get out and start networking and meeting everybody, and that would be great. So I'd like to call to order today's Brattleboro Housing Partnerships annual meeting, our 63rd annual meeting here at Red Clover Commons. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Brattleboro Housing Partnerships annual meeting. Thank you to our staff, our residents, fellow board members, and community partners for being here and for everything you do to support each other and the well-being of this organization and the lives of the people who live and work here. This past year has had its challenges and has also been full of successes. Adding staff positions, strengthening safety measures and supports, expanding resident opportunities through new grants, and continuing the important redevelopment work at Melrose Terrace. As a small agency serving hundreds of people and managing 8 complex properties, collaboration is truly at the heart of our success. We simply couldn't do this work without the strong partnerships that support us. I want to offer a heartfelt thank you to all of our staff, partners, and residents. Your hard work, compassion, creativity, and dedication inspire us and drive our collective achievements. Whether your contribution has been big or small, it matters, and we are truly grateful. Thank you for being here and for all that you do for PHP and our community. So we'd like to start off with an introduction of all of our board members and a brief remark of why we choose and continue to choose to be a member of the board. So I'd like to start. I have had the privilege this year, over the course of several years, of being invited to extra events at the housing site's office and getting to know more of the residents and staff. I've accompanied and supported Christine during some challenging situations, and in doing so, I've witnessed a hardworking, compassionate, and resilient group of individuals who are truly committed to the well-being of everyone in these communities, as well as their quick and creative thinking to invite community resources to support and collaborate, whether it's to answer questions, provide information, or mitigate a group conversation. I am truly grateful for this and inspired by it. I grew up in these communities. I lived at Ledgewood Heights, and I have a loved one who still lives here, and I visit them every day. I am thankful to those who work here and those who live here who work together to make this community a welcoming and safe and comfortable place. This is why I continue to choose to volunteer as a board member and as the chair. Here's Michelle.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Wright. I am the vice chair of the board. I bet you're going to hear some themes as we. I serve on the housing board because as a nurse, I've seen throughout my career how deeply health is shaped by where we live. Safe, stable, and dignified housing is essential to wellness. And being a part of an organization that supports this foundation is something that I care deeply about. Over the years, I've watched our staff work with remarkable dedication, finding creative solutions to the challenges that are a part of funding and maintaining public housing. Their commitment and the engagement and neighborliness of the people that live here continue to inspire me. I'm also incredibly proud of the outcomes that we see at the housing partnerships, such as maintaining high occupancy rates, supporting programs that help residents pursue employment and education goals, and fostering a real sense of community. These accomplishments show what is possible when a housing authority is grounded in both compassion and accountability. The challenges continue to grow, and that makes it even more essential that we provide strong structure, steady leadership, and trustworthy day-to-day operations. That's why I joined the Housing Board and why I continue to serve.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everybody. For those who may or may not know, I'm Gary Stroud. I'm originally a native New York. I moved up here after 9/11, being displaced there, and then coming up here to Brattleboro to be only displaced again in the floods of Irene, but to be replaced, and in the grace of you people helping out, rebuilding me, a person with lived experience, knowing how it is and what it's like to have things that are taken away that are more precious to you, but still having that spark of hope left in you to go on. My personal experience being on this, I'm pretty much the voice for others who cannot come to this meeting at times, to speak up for them, to be the voice for the unheard, for the people sometimes that aren't seen, but in that same token that those voices are being acknowledged, and we do see and hear of their, plights and their situations, to help them out, to get into a place where they need to be considered as a family in this community. I'm really appreciative and thankful for being on this board, for being a part of it, and being a person with lived experience, and them being open-hearted, open-minded, and allowing that situation that others are going through to also be acknowledged, to get the help that they need to get ahead. BHP offers a lot to people, from being renters to helping them out with job placements, careers, everything that you name. It's more than just placing them in a place to live, but also for them, helping them to be sustainable as well also. I love being on this. I love the people that are on this. There's just so much to offer, to give. And that was the thing I wanted to do, because this town was there for me. So I wanted to give back what was given. And that's what it's all about, and to become a family community, not just a community, but a community that comes together. Because I feel that when one person or whatever person is being displaced, we all feel it in this town. And I just want to say thank you all, thank VHP, thank Christine, and to continue, this march that we're doing into sustaining people, to making sure that they have permanent housing, and also to help out families in need. And I always encourage people, please, anyone wants to join, please feel welcome. At some point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be retiring myself, so I'd like to have those young people, fresh minds in there too as well. But again, thank you all for coming and the hearing, and then for this celebration, and looking forward to meeting each and every one of you separate. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Hello, everyone. My name is Susie Walker, and I'm the newest board member here. So it's my pleasure to learn from all of these fine people as we go along, and to get to know you all the more I get to attend meetings and events, and get to see how this important work plays out every day. I'm on this board because there's nothing more central to our lives than having a safe place to be, where we can have that sanctuary from whatever's going on in our work lives or the outside world, that we have that safe place to be where we feel warm and comfortable. And I came from another meeting just now. I'm the director of the Recovery Partners of Vermont, which is a membership organization of recovery centers and recovery residences in the state. And we were talking about the different kinds of recovery residences that are happening now, that there are some for women and their children, dads and their children, and something that's in development that would have a building in the middle where the families are able to reunite. So it's fascinating to me how, even in my work in the recovery field, and I've seen that over the years, how critical having that safe place to be is. Because I've seen people in their journey of recovery making it work, but having a real challenge in sleeping in somebody's, on their couch or just going from place to place, just not knowing from one day to the next where they might be waking up. And our communities, if we want people to thrive and our communities to thrive, we need to keep what we're doing. I see here in Brattleboro, we're really trying to take care of each other. And the more I can learn by participating on boards like this, the better.
I'm Pat Green. I am born and raised in Brattleboro. I worked at the Host Farm for 42 years, and when I retired, my husband and I ended up living in the high-rise. That was 2005. I wanted to come on the board because I wanted to see what makes the clock tick. It's hard to understand why some rules are the rules they are. This past year, there's been safety issues. People have not felt safe in a couple of units. And they had the police, fire, HCRS come to help and ask what our problems were. And two communities feel much safer now because having discussions with the police department, they did resolve the problem, although it seemed to take forever because you have to realize it doesn't take overnight. So there are two communities, and one of them is the high-rise, that feel much safer because talking with the police and working with the housing, we found out that it takes a while, but it does work. Thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you board members for your time and commitment to this board. It's so essential. And as Gary touched upon, so the Brattleboro Housing Partnerships is a unique organization in that our board is appointed by the select board. We're a quasi-municipal organization, and so all of the members have 5-year terms, and they apply to the select board to be selected to be on the board. And so we're just grateful for all the time and energy that they put into this. I wanted to talk a little bit about another board that Brattleboro Housing Partnerships is associated with, and that's called Brattleboro Housing Opportunities, Inc. Mm-hmm. So because we're a quasi-municipal organization, we cannot fundraise for Brattleboro Housing Authority or Brattleboro Housing Partnerships. And so this nonprofit board was created years ago, actually, by Tom Yahn, who we're celebrating today. He was one of the founding members, and Chris Hart, who's also in the room. And it had laid dormant for some time, and in the last couple of years, we've really gotten it back off the ground. We have a really strong, thriving board now, and I'm just going to read you the mission of that nonprofit. Brattleboro Housing Opportunities, Inc. is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for elderly, disabled youth, and families by providing supplemental financial support for programs whose purpose is to offer cultural, educational, recreational experiences to residents and participants of Brattleboro Housing Partnerships. And so a few of the members are in the room. Konstantin von Krusenstern is our chair. Thank you, Konstantin. Jennifer Sutton is also here. Jan Anderson is here. And Prudence McKinney is also on our board, but she was unable to attend. So in the last several years, we've raised some money for programming for dental health, also for engagement and community parties and community building, as well as we received a Hannaford's grant that offered food support. So I just wanted to thank you all for being there, and you might hear more about Brattleboro Housing Opportunities Inc. over the years as we do more fundraising. So welcome to the 63rd annual meeting. It's so nice. I'm going to stand up. It's so nice to look around the room and see residents and staff and community partners. I'm Christine Hazard, as I think many of you know, the Executive Director of Brattleboro Housing Partnerships. And the annual meeting is an opportunity for us to reflect on past work, express gratitude, and share our hopes and plans for the future. And this year's will be no different. I'm grateful to you all for your participation as we celebrate an esteemed colleague and several wonderful residents who are in the room today.
I will begin by discussing the federal funding uncertainty that is impacting the housing voucher program. The federal government primarily funds Brattleboro housing, and as a result, the organization is required to follow very specific federal standards and guidelines. This work is essential because over 650 people in our community currently rely on housing subsidies to pay a portion of their rent. Brattleboro Housing has always taken these requirements very seriously to remain in compliance, and this is something we have control over. We do not have control over federal decisions to either level fund or cut funding. However, I assure you that Brattleboro Housing Partnerships will continue to do everything in its power to manage the program in a manner that meets the needs of the community and residents. We are doing this by committing to funding current subsidies and expanding cautiously when able. HUD has approved our expansion of the project-based voucher program, which will enable us to house residents with project-based vouchers if the private market is unable to do so. We have also managed to maintain the funding level for voucher subsidies rather than decreasing the cap. Brattleboro Housing is also advocating for essential community resources as well as collaborating with the other housing authorities around the state to work together to face these challenges, advocating for expanded financial support. Brattleboro Housing is always seeking to meet the resident needs, and we recognize that many residents face considerable challenges in the current economic environment, which has caused an increased threat to many household stability. Brattleboro Housing Partnerships surveyed residents this past year, and the two biggest concerns identified were financial security and safety. We've explored creative ways to address these issues, and it's an ongoing job. So for safety, we have collaborated fully with the One Brattleboro leadership team, and many of those members are in the room, to address some big picture issues that our community is facing. Our resident service staff, and I thank them considerably, has attended the weekly situation table, I believe every week, to support specific individual and property issues. Brattleboro Housing Partnerships collaborates with the police department, fire department, and BRAT team regularly. I will say sometimes I feel like we have them on speed dial, how much we collaborate together to address on-site issues and safety concerns in the community. We've increased security on properties by adding new exterior doors at the Samuel Elliott Apartments and exterior locks at Hayes Court. We also have a capital project of installing cameras at Hayes Court, which will be beginning soon, and planning for exterior foyer locks at both Red Clover Commons 1 and 2. But the real work has been done by residents. Residents have been committed to building community in their neighborhoods, to support one another, and to increase advocacy so that when they see something, they say something. They report it to us, and they report it to the police and the police tip line regularly. This has been the biggest success story for all of the safety initiatives and the most empowering for residents. Brattleboro Housing understands the importance of keeping people housed, and to address financial awareness and improve housing retention, the occupancy team has created a system to communicate rent owed to residents, so residents are aware if there is a balance due on their account. Sending this information monthly, although sometimes really frustrating to residents, has helped many avoid falling too far behind and has supported residents in taking action sooner to secure their housing. The resident services staff have worked with residents to gain financial knowledge and apply for assistance. These actions have decreased evictions for non-payment to a quarter of what they were 2 years ago today. Understanding that residents face increased financial challenges, Brattleboro Housing Opportunities, Inc., our nonprofit that I mentioned a few minutes ago, has applied for funding to support resident community building events and programs, finances for dental procedures, and nutritional program opportunities. Residents requested additional programs that improve quality of life, including health, financial, and community engagement activities, and Brattleboro Housing Partnerships listened. This funding has been extremely helpful, but the real work of this has come from our resident services team. Over the last year, Brattleboro Housing Partnerships has hosted 395 individual staff-run program events and partnered with community agencies to organize an additional 200 program events. These events range from blood pressure clinics and vaccine clinics to exercise programs and financial improvement courses. They include resident-led parties and gatherings from Halloween to graduation celebrations. And Brattleboro Housing Partnerships listened to residents and applied for funds to offer dental grants, which offered $12,500 to cover additional dental costs, and purchased 300 pool passes for people to cool off in the summer, supported children and families to attend or pay for materials related to camps, recreational activities, and sports activities, planned and provided meals and meal planning equipment like crock pots to adults with supplement food costs. This is how this organization has chosen to go forward, by identifying problems and opportunities and cautiously planning deliberate actions to address these challenges. Brattleboro Housing Partnerships continues to seek ways to collaborate and meet the needs of residents in the community. Almost a decade and a half ago, many of you will remember that Brattleboro Housing Partnerships, as well as many in Brattleboro, were changed forever by Tropical Storm Irene. Since then, 2 beautiful buildings have been developed, Red Clover Commons 1 and 2, which house 77 households. A 5-acre flood mitigation area has been completed, which has changed the flood map of West Brattleboro, preventing flooding and protecting housing along the brook, including all the way up to Hayes Court. And now, after all that work, the remaining buildings, now out of the floodway, will be redeveloped for 31 new households for seniors. This project is close to securing all funding, with construction slated to begin in the spring of 2026, with a projected occupancy date of spring of 2027. In meeting with Melrose neighbors this summer, they were excited to learn that the buildings will be very similar to the original architecture that everybody loved. And the fastest growing segment of our population, seniors, will have a new neighborhood. Please view the drawings that are along the back before you leave. But I really wanted to thank a couple of people. So housing development and redevelopment takes a lot of work and time and energy. To be honest, I had no idea, even though this is the 3rd project I've been a part of. But this one I'm much more heavy-handed in. I wanted to thank Dan Riddlehoover, who's here from M&S Development, Chris Hart, who is the former board chair, former executive director, but now our development manager, our development director, our board member, Michelle Wright, and the architects of GBA for their dedication over the past year and a half to this vital project. I'm getting close to the end. This past year, like all years, has had its shares of highs and lows, but it has never lacked for challenges. I want to thank the Brattleboro Housing Partnerships Board and our staff. This group of people approaches every problem, challenge, and opportunity with the best interests of residents and the community in mind. I can say that with all honesty at the bottom of my heart. And I feel fortunate to work alongside them and never take their hard work or commitment for granted. So thank you. And thank you all for coming today. It means a lot. Do you want to introduce Jan?
All right. Now is the time where our sorry if I get this right, hopefully, support and services at home for all. Coordinator Jake Bursky is going to say a few words about his work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here we are. So I'm Jake. I'm pretty sure everybody knows me, but just in case you don't. Jake Bursky, and I've been the SASH for All coordinator with Brattleboro Housing Partnership for about 3 years at this point in time. Today I was tasked with breaking down the importance of the program as well as its resultant impact on the communities that we serve. In July of 2022, I was approached by my supervisor to see if I would be interested in helping launch a pilot program, which was called SASH for All. Brattleboro Housing Partnerships and Wyndham & Windsor Housing Trust were able to work with Cathedral Square to create the framework for this new venture. By taking the same tried and true structure of SASH and working with the families of Ledgewood Heights, Moore Court, and other buildings through town, we could accomplish something truly special. We are the only 2 housing providers in the state that have an embedded supportive service program to serve young people and families. Brattleboro Housing has roughly 50 people that are fully enrolled in the program. This is usually just 1 adult in the house, though there are a few households that have 2 adults enrolled. Brattleboro Housing Partnerships has an average of 2.63 people per household. This gives us about 130 people that have access to the full suite of SASH for All services. This ranges from basic information and document support to navigating public benefits to wellness nursing and an emotional wellness clinician. What up, Jeff? Woo! So the raw count of residents at Ledgewood Heights and Moore Court as of August 19, and probably still pretty similar at this point in time, is 220 people. This is 220 people of varying ages, need, socioeconomic status, and skills. I'm a man of emotion, but I wanted to illustrate the tangible impact that our program has on the communities we serve. We'll switch for the slideshow real quick. Thank you, Doug.
I get tucked down.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
There we are. Okay. So from emotion to numbers. Since the program has been launched, we have measured innumerable bits of data, but these are some of the ones that stand out. Emergency department admissions among our fully enrolled participants are down from 53% to 39%. Food insecurity, missed appointments due to transportation issues, and evictions are down. Brattleboro Housing has been able to help prevent 27 evictions since May of 2024. The number of participants indicating that they have poor social support is down from 47 to 27%, while the number of participants indicating that they have strong social support is up from 18 to 33%. We bridge the gap. We bridge the gap between a need and a resource. A huge part of that success is our collaboration with community partners. The core group is comprised of Brattleboro Housing Partnership, Wyndham & Windsor Housing Trust, Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, the Winston Prouty Center, SEVCA, and HCRS. We were also lucky enough to be able to contract Jeff Rose from the Brattleboro Retreat as a wellness clinician. Without the collection of skills, knowledge, and resources that are provided by the larger team, we would simply be dead in the water. I am deeply hopeful that we can continue to provide this essential service for low-income families. The program may not be measured the same as traditional SASH. The people we serve simply are not as focused on quantitative physical health things like blood pressure or blood glucose. The things that SASH for All brings to the table are rooted in the social determinants of health. SASH for All being there means that the individuals we serve have a better chance of finding sources of financial aid for rental arrears, finding food resources before their EBT is refilled, or battling depression by accessing mental health support. This program receiving continued funding and potentially being expanded to more places in the state will continue to help hundreds. A magnificent tree starts with a seed being planted, and a healthy and positive life experience starts at home. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle, are you ready?
Okay. This year, the Brattleboro Housing Partnerships Board of Commissioners would like to celebrate 3 residents for their outstanding determination and innovation in building a better community. Each of the 3 residents celebrated this year have been role models for their neighbors and the larger community. They've dedicated much time and energy to creating opportunities for others. This year, the Resident Community Building Awards are being given to Crystal Eloise, Eben Longuille, and Heather Wright. Crystal. Crystal Eloise generously volunteers her time running themed art groups that bring joy and creativity to the residents in her building. She actively participates in many community activities and is always ready to help with setup and cleanup. Her consistent presence, kindness, and support make her an integral part of the community. Crystal's dedication to fostering connection and inclusion truly embodies the spirit of community building. Congratulations, Crystal.
Yeah.
Eben Longiel is a successful participant of the Learning Employment Academic Program at Brattleboro Housing Partnerships. Eben and his son joined the Ledgewood Heights community about a year and a half ago. After settling into their new home, Eben discovered an opportunity through SEVCA's weatherization training program. His hard work and dedication paid off. At the end of the program, he was offered a full-time position with SEVCA. He's found a way to better his community through work and by being a role model in his neighborhood. Since moving into Brattleboro housing, Eben has truly shined as an example of how determination can lead to lasting personal and financial independence. We're so lucky to have Eben and his son as a part of our Ledgewood Heights family. Congratulations, Eben. Heather Wright has been working with the SASH for All program since its inception. All the way along, she has been an advocate for herself, her child, and her community. In the last year, Heather has shown incredible personal growth and perseverance. When she's not busy helping the people in her neighborhood, she's spending countless hours volunteering at Turning Point of Windham County. The residents of Moore Court, both big and small, know that she is someone to trust and someone who will do everything she can to help those around her. Congratulations, Heather. The board's honored to recognize Crystal, Eben, and Heather. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for all of your dedication and hard work for our communities. So the next is our dedication of the 2025 Thomas C. Yahn Housing Leadership Award. And here's Christine to dedicate the award. Sorry, here's Gary to dedicate the award.
Absolutely.
So I'll just say one thing really quickly. So unfortunately, David DeAngelis was unable to attend. He let us know this morning that he wasn't feeling well. And so I'm sure for David, that was just a terrible, hard decision to have to make. And I know he really wanted to be here and he was very grateful for the award. I will say that I'm so grateful to see all these faces in the room, and if I ever need to get people someplace, I'm going to tell them that David DeAngelis is going to be here, because a lot of people showed up for him, and I know that. He's a really special guy. But before the dedication, I just want to say, we set up a table in the back with the award, and there's blank cards there. I would be so grateful if people, before you leave, could just write out a little card to him and stick it in the basket, and then we can mail them to him. I think he'd really appreciate it. I think he'd really like that.
Well, wherever you're at, David, this is for you. In honor of Tom Yahn and Thomas C. Yahn Leadership Award is given to alternate years of Brattleboro Housing Partnership and Wyndham Windsor Housing Trust. It's hard to look around Brattleboro without seeing the legacy of Tom. Among many things, Tom was board chair in the Brattleboro Housing Authority for many years and guided the organization into an innovative agency it is today. He was also a founding member of the Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust. He cared for Brattleboro in a way that inspired others to do the same. In Tom's honor, the Leadership Award recognizes a resident of Wyndham County who has been dedicated in the preservation and development of affordable housing and/or to the lives of those who live in the affordable housing. As Tom said, everything we do for our citizens and our community must start with safe, decent, and affordable housing. This year, we are pleased to honor Dave DeAngelis with this award for these years of commitment and these values. Dave is a true son of Brattleboro. He grew up here, where he was often seen and heard playing music at our local dances and clubs. Dave was known to his colleagues for working busily throughout the day and with perfectly pitched whistles of hum. I can attest to that. David is a true musical talent, but his talents go beyond the piano keyboard. He is also an incredible talent when it comes to building relationships and a champion to those who need an opportunity. He oversaw 2 highly successful programs, transitions to housing and shelter plus care, which supported unhoused individuals and families in finding homes in the community. By building relationships with program participants, community partners, and housing providers, David managed these 2 programs for many years with great success. Other housing authorities have given up these programs, but David understood the importance of keeping them in Brattleboro, knowing that without local oversight, many would be without housing. He advocated for maintaining local programs and was always looking for opportunities to make things work for the Brattleboro community. David spent 20 years as a Section 8 manager at the Brattleboro Housing Partnership. He supported the development of several housing sites, including the Ann Wilder Riches Building, Upper Story, the Snow Block, the Red Clover Commons 2, by providing project-based vouchers for these buildings, enabling people with very low incomes to find housing in brand new apartments. He served on and chaired the local continuum of care community, as well as various statewide and regional committees that focus on housing. David was tireless in working to ensure that people received the decent and affordable housing that was needed. He worked closely with private housing providers to respect their needs. He served all with compassion and respect. His work has had an impact on almost everyone in this community. After all these years working in the betterment of others, he will now concentrate on his music, fly fishing, and we are proud to honor him with the Thomas Yahn Award as he enjoys this well-deserved next chapter. Thank you all.
So now we're going to have a short formal board meeting, as we do every annual meeting. But at every meeting we have a section where we invite community members, but residents, to make their comments to the board and ask any questions that they may have. So now's the time where the floor is open. If any community member or resident would like to speak, now's your time.
Can everybody hear me? Yes. Just make sure. I'm Adjourn. I just moved into Hayesport about 16 days ago. And I was wondering, why don't we as tenants have a say in the resident handbook? It's only we're supposed to play by these rules, but I feel like we should have a say in how these rules are being enforced. So my proposal would be a resident handbook committee would be made up of one tenant from each of the 8 properties, and the board of commissioners would then appoint a chair, regardless of which property that chair is from. That way, we work closely with the board of commissioners to come up with rules that we can play by.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to this, or?
Thank you, AJ. I appreciate you give me a comment. And so we do draft up the rules, and they are public. So we do post them publicly, and then the board decides on them. So there is some opportunity for having these conversations, and some of them are rules that we really don't have a lot of wiggle room around. There are some pieces, but there are pieces that we do. You know, for instance, like trash pickup. We didn't always pick up. We used to have, you know, the residents used to have to pay for little bags, and we changed that, and we have some rules and all the different things. But there probably is some wiggle room. So I think the next time that we're looking at we look at this probably every couple of years. I think it's a good idea, and we'll ask to have specific residents. We'll put a notice out asking for specific residents to be part of the committee to do that. So it's
I'm
excellent.
already applying for that.
Okay, sounds great. It's a really good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? Holly?
No, you're
Very short. I'd like to know why the handbooks that were given to us people at the beginning when we moved in here have not been revised with all the new rules and regulations and the pamphlets that have been going out in the black boxes. There you go, Lisa.
Thank you. Oh, you can go. Okay, thanks. So I would have to know, and we could talk offline, Holly. I'm happy to talk to you, like which rules you're talking about. Sometimes there are just changes, like we might have some administrative changes that don't get into the overall handbook, but there might be like a new policy of procedure of how to do things. You know, the handbooks it's a legal document. It's part of your, it's part of your lease. And so they do take a lot of time to put together and to edit. And we don't edit them constantly because that could also be confusing. But there might be certain policies that we need to upgrade and then or update, and then we'll do so, and then we'll update it with them when we have them. Yeah. And to be honest, things come up like all the time that we don't think of it. Like there's a new situation that happens, and then we have to come up with a plan on how to address that issue and talk about it. And so it's a living document. However, we really don't want to edit it constantly. We'd rather just put out information. But if you have any questions about it, obviously you can reach out to BHP or me or your property manager.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug.
You can run it. Speak that during our tier when we have.
I just have one question. I've lived here for about 7 years. Things have changed drastically with rules and regulations. And my question is, I know when I was first here for the first few years that we were allowed to celebrate Christmas here. We used to have a tree in here. We did $5 or less neutral gifts in exchange. We had Christmas carols. We had a little snack thing. And I just wondered why that has all changed.
Thank you. So yes, years ago we did, and I believe we still have a holiday tree. We still have holiday parties. It might not be exactly what it used to be, but I think it's evolved into other things. And I do know we have a lot more things going on this property than we probably had in a really long time. I know we recently had a big Halloween party, and there's exercise programs and movies and lots of different things. I think it's shifted a little bit, but I believe that we'll still have holiday parties, but they will not be specifically to a specific religion. So they will be an overall winter celebration holiday party. And I'm sure that Doug, I'm not speaking to you, will be planning this with residents, as I know a lot of residents have been actively involved in doing a lot of different programming. But as I said before, situations change and things come up, and a few years ago, we had a specific situation, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but we had to change the rules because there were just a handful of people who were doing things that we could not have in the property. And so we had to change it a little bit. So we continued to have, but we'll continue to have holiday parties and for all different types of things.
Okay, one other question. What's the difference? I don't understand this holiday tree. What's the difference? We used to have it there so everybody could see it in the windows. What's the difference there than being out there and everybody could see it?
I think that it was just a property management decision. I think we liked having it out front because then people could see it as they walked in and out of the building, and we could have decorations. People had asked to specifically have decorations in the foyer, and so we shifted it there. And we also have a lot of other things going on in this room, like the puzzles and different other things that are, that take up space. And so we decided to have it out in the foyer. Thanks. Anyone else?
Hi, I have a question for BHP. I know that there have been several occasions that people have put on functions. We enjoy them. However, there are a few bad apples that ruin it for everybody. And I am totally upset with this. And I have basically hibernated myself in my apartment because of these few bad apples. And I really, Heather, my heart goes out to you. You did a wonderful job on the Halloween party. I would like that to be reconsidered, what we can and cannot do as far as parties from here on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. If there isn't any other questions or comments, we are going to move on. And I'd like to call to order today's Brattleboro Housing Partnerships meeting on November 17th at Red Clover Commons. So, first order of business is to elect the commissioners, the positions on the board and for 2026. So may I have a nomination for the chair of the board position for 2026?
I would nominate Alicia.
I second the nomination.
Any other nominations? All in favor for chair of the board to be Alicia Underwood? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. May I have a nomination for vice chair of the board for 2026?
I nominate Michelle.
I would second that.
So all in favor for Michelle Wright for, any other nominations? No, okay. So all in favor for Michelle Wright as vice chair of the board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay. May I have a nomination for secretary of the board?
I would nominate Christine Hazard as secretary of the board for BHP.
Second?
I'll second.
Any other nominations? Okay. All in favor for Christine Hazard to be secretary of the Brattleboro Housing Partnerships Board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. So the next is we get a board packet every month delivered to us at home to review diligently. And so we'll briefly go through. One thing that's in every board packet is a monthly comparable. and a finance report. So are there any questions or things to review at for the financial report? Any questions or comments?
No.
Not at this time, okay. And then any other business to report? None at this time. Okay, so I'd like to adjourn today's 63rd annual meeting. Thank you all for being here, and please enjoy some refreshments that are in the back, and stick around to get to know each other. Thank you.
Thank you.